Loosen up the lug nuts, 21mm socket. Once you've raised support of the vehicle, take the tire off. Remove the old cotter pin and discard. I'm going to remove the axle nut. On this particular model, the CV axle nut is a 32mm. Take the washer off and set it aside. A lot of the times the new axle does not come with this space washer and you need that. 19mm socket, remove both lower ball joint nuts onto the control arm. Last one is a bolt through the top, 17mm wrench. We're going to remove that. Set the bolt and two nuts aside. I previously sprayed the area around here with some rust penetrant, let it soak for a little bit. Then I just took a pry bar, get underneath here, and tapped the actual studs. I tapped the studs with a hammer, just gave them a few taps, and out it popped. This is the easiest way, so that way I don't have to do an alignment after. Because these bolts are standard. If I undo that strut, I'm going to need to get an alignment. I'm going to grab the rotor firmly and pull so the spindle goes inward, like that. I used a bungee cord or a tie-down strap. You want to pull this whole knuckle assembly aside with the strut attached so that now you have a free shot for the axle to come out. Take a pry bar if you have one, put it between the transmission and the axle housing on that joint and give it a quick push. Now you just grab the CV shaft and just pull it right out. Put the new axle right through the same slot you took the old one out. Line it up in the transmission. There's the clip. You'll notice the clip has a little bit of movement to it in size. I like to put the opening on the down so that way it doesn't get jammed in there on a gravity. So I go like that. Bring it in, the housing. See if I can get it to line up a little bit, just like that. So now I'm going to just grab it as firmly as I can, try to keep it level, and give it a push. And then let's seat itself. At this point, we're safe to take our bungee cord or tie-down strap off so we can line up that control arm. Now you're going to take the CV shaft, place it inside the bearing splines. There we go. Push that through. Now you're going to grab a big pry bar if you have one. I'm going to place it on top of the lower control arm and pry down slightly. Line up those studs and get one of your locking nuts available and start that stud. Do not tighten it yet. Everything's just hand tight. Let's see if we can get that upper bolt lined up. This is why I'm going to keep the pry bar there so I can drop it down a little bit. Make sure you feel that start and not get cross-threaded. 17mm, we're going to tighten up this top bolt that goes down through. Then we'll have the two nuts that come up from the bottom. 19mm socket. There is no torque spec, so make sure they're tight. Once those two bottom nuts are tightened, I'm just taking a longer wrench and I'm going to make sure I get this nice and snug. Last step, we're going to put our washer on and a new castle nut that comes with the axle. Torque spec on this is 188 foot-pounds, and it is a 32mm socket. At this point, I'm going to take the hubcap off of the rim. I'm going to install the tire. I'm only going to put 2 lug nuts on, then lower the car down, because I can put my 32mm axle nut socket on there, and then the weight of the car will keep the wheel from turning as I torque this to 188 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to raise it back up, put the new cotter pin in, and then take the tire 2 lug nuts off so I can put the hubcap on. Put the new cotter pin in, fold one end over, and then push the other end inward. I like to use the rim. You can just line up the valve stem, center the cap, put your 5 lug nuts on. I just bottom them out because I will torque it to the specs, which is 65 to 80 foot-pounds. 21 millimeter socket. I'm going with 80 foot-pounds because of the age of my car here. So I know that these lug nuts and everything have been stretched. So I'm going to the max, which is 80 foot-pounds. Double check.